Hi, my name is Audrey Eagle, and this is the workshop video for Presentation Workshop. Today we will just be covering levels 3 through 5, which will be using the Multimedia Listening and Speaking Workbook. Before watching this, please make sure that you have printed the program guides and gone through the textbook, as I will be referring back to them several times throughout the video. The objectives of this program are to develop students' listening skills while also working on their speaking confidence and creativity. The classes are all structured around an episode from an American or Western television series, such as The Cosby Show or Full House. So a great tip is to take the DVD home with you to review some of the episodes so that you are familiar with them before teaching the class. Some tips and suggestions. I'll be talking about participation and about the group presentations. Keep in mind that this is not an IBT skills class, nor is it one of the academic critical learning classes. This class is more fun, however, it is still a class. Be sure that you are always pushing students' academic or active listening and critical thinking skills. Again, watch the DVD at home and be prepared for some of the themes that will come up. During pre-discussion, you can get students talking by asking them questions about the theme. For example, in Level 1, the first episode is from The Cosby Show, where Rudy has her first day at school. A great question to ask students would be to ask them about their first day at school. If you haven't seen the episode, Rudy has a pretty bad experience, and getting students to talk about and maybe laugh about their own bad experiences might put them into the correct frame of mind. To ensure that students do have a basic knowledge of what they're talking about, you can talk about the context of the show. For example, with an episode of Full House, students might be a little bit confused as to why 3 little girls live with 3 grown men. You might have to explain that. Because we are focusing on active listening strategies, use prediction strategies with the students. If you are having a class that is a bit difficult for keeping them going, you can list some of their predictions on the board and then go back and check them off as you see them. During the second hour, students will watch an entire episode of the show, and they will have to take notes. This is a part that parents often check in their workbooks to ensure that they are working and they aren't just spending 3 hours watching television. The lower levels will have a harder time taking notes. So during your prep, come up with some sort of template or chart for them to fill out. You don't have to go out of your way to type up something and print it. You can write it on the board and have them copy the template into their book. For example, if they're watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the students can make a chart of the various spells that Sabrina uses. And then that way they have something to do as they are watching. The program guide suggests that you do pause the video halfway through to discuss with the students what's happening. However, if students are having a hard time following, feel free to pause more often to catch them up. During the first few lessons, you might have to pause after each scene just to ask students what happened, what did this character do? Later on, as their comprehension starts growing, you can ask more difficult questions such as, why do you think that character did that? Lastly, I want to talk a bit about the group presentation. The program guide has some excellent tips to get students into their character, but many students have a hard time with the feedback components. One thing that helps is to provide students with a question that you will ask them before their performances, just to give students something to think about. Randomly call on students to ask them questions about things like volume and eye contact. You can also ask them questions like, does their presentation make you want to watch the show again? If you have a class that has a good sense of humor, you can ask them questions like, if we were an award show, what award do you think this presentation should win? Always end the feedback sessions with a question such as, what should this group work on for next time? The program guide for Presentation Workshop has much more information. It is extremely detailed, and you should have a fantastic time teaching this class.